I want to open the show with a story. I am a burlesque performer. I am a stripper and sex worker. And one of the things that I'm known for most in my burlesque performance is the slow burn. So if anyone's seen me at Duane Park, you will see me working the stage very, very slowly. And there's an actual moment in my life where that all happened, and I learned this skill that became kind of my signature on the stage. So I'm going to tell you the story of how that happened. About 10 years ago, I was working at our local dive strip club, Pumps, where I worked for several years. At the time, I was working at Pumps about 3 nights a week. I was doing burlesque gigs on the weekend, like at pretty much any time that I was not asleep. I was either performing or at Pumps or at the pole studio where I was learning pole tricks. All of this is important to the lead up to the story. So one night I was at work. I got a call from the manager at Pumps. His name is Eric, and he is a very gruff, over it man. He just doesn't give a shit. He's like one of those guys you're like, hey Eric, and he's like, ugh. Just like his whole demeanor is just like, ugh. So he calls me, and he calls at like 5, and he's like, can you come in at 7? And basically he would call, if like one of the day shift girls calls out, he'd call a night shift girl to come in and pad out the day shift. They pay you like $40 to come in the extra 2 hours, and then your night shift is now from 7 p.m. to 4 a.m. instead of 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. So it makes a big difference in the rest of your night, kind of painful, those 2 hours, but it's fine. So I was working a couple new pole tricks. I was like, sure, I'll come in, I'll take the extra money and get some practice in when it's quiet. And so I'm in the club, there's nobody there, it's like day shift, there's one guy at the bar, and all the dancers just on their phones at the end of the bar. And so I'm on stage, and I'm making, okay, so I'm stretching and making sure that my body's ready, using my stage time wisely, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna work this one trip that I had been learning in the studio. So I go in, and I think it was called the bow and arrow or something like that, and you invert up into the air, and my leg hooks on one part of the pole, and then the other leg comes down into a big arch, so I'm upside down in this arch just hanging by 1 foot and in an inverted split. So I nail it the first time, so I'm like, okay, this is great, I got it. I'm stone cold sober, so I'm like, this is perfect. Practicing, got one guy in the audience, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try it again, because practice makes perfect. So I'm trying it again. I go back into my trick, and I invert, and I'm like, this is so fun, I'm finally getting it. And I'm watching my foot come up to the pole, and I watch my foot not make contact with the pole, but go past the pole. And at this point, if my foot's not making contact with the pole, I'm in a full free fall at this point. And I'm watching myself upside down, completely out of control. And I'm falling in now slow motion in my brain, and I completely face plant onto the bar. And if you've been to Pumps, you know how close the bar is. There's a bar to there, and then where the bottles are, that's where the stage is. So basically my leg comes down, slams onto the bar, breaks the bottles on the rail, and I land face first onto the stage and the bar. It's really hot. So all the dancers on the side of the stage are like, what the fuck? The bartender's like, oh my God, are you okay? And I spring up in my 8-inch pleasers, and I'm like, I'm fine, everything's fine, I am fine. And I'm in complete shock. I finish my set, I go up to the one person at the bar, and he gives me a $20 bill, which is, I think, it's like obligatory when you watch somebody bust it that hard. So I take my pity tip and I do a shot with the bartender, and one of the dancers gives me a couple bumps in the bathroom, and I'm like feeling fine. I'm like, okay, everything is great. I'm gonna finish out the night, I'm fine. I didn't feel any pain at that point, but who knows? I mean, adrenaline is an amazing thing, and so is cocaine. I finish out the night, like I don't even think about it. I'm like, yeah, I fell, it's fine. And I keep going, and I work the rest of the night. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, okay, I'm a little tired. And so I'm gonna go down, I go down to the locker room, and it's the first time all night that I decided to look down at my leg. And I don't know why it didn't occur to me to even check, but it didn't. And so I sit down in the locker room, and I look down, and I notice that my foot is now swollen over the side of the lucite plastic pleasers that I'm wearing, and it's like spilling over the side, like almost so much that I'm like, I don't know if I can actually get my shoe off. And I am more injured than I feel like I'm injured. And so I internally, like, it's not from the pain, but it's from the shock of seeing how fucked up I am, like just start to cry from that like gut place where you're like, like little kid cry. And so I go into the office to talk to Eric, who, as we know, is over it. And I go into the office and I say, Eric, I need to go home. And he was like, fuck no. He's like, you can't go home, you still have 3 hours. And I was like, no, I need to go home. And I slam my leg on the desk, the metal desk, and it's like, bam! And he sees the monster that has become my shin, and he's like, oh fuck, did you do that here? And I was like, yeah, I did. He's like, get the fuck out of here. So I'm like, yes, score. So I leave and go home and put some ice on it when I get home and hope for the best. So also I'd like to you need to know at this point, I'm a young stripper with no health insurance. So that's a very important part of the rest of this story. So I go home just hoping the best. I'm like, okay, it's all gonna be better tomorrow. It's December, I've got like 1,000 burlesque gigs this month, and I know that I need to survive for January, which is the deadest month. So I know I have to continue to work. So I'm just like, yeah, it'll be fine tomorrow. It'll be fine, it's gonna be fine. So I wake up the next morning and it's really not fine. My whole, from the knee down is swollen. It's like green, my shin, and I can like hardly walk. But I have to go, I'm working at Duane Park the very next day. And so I get to Duane Park the next day, I pack up my stuff, I'm like, it's gonna be okay, like I have to pay rent, I have to eat food, I don't have health insurance, this is what has to happen. So I make my way into Duane Park, and the owner, Marissa, sees me hobble in, and she's like, Peekaboo, what's wrong with you? And I was like, nothing, I just like hurt my leg last night, it's fine. She's like, you need to go home. And I was like, yeah, I probably do, but I can't. And she's like, you can't work like this. And I was like, you're gonna watch me. And I was like, Marissa, I am staying. I was like, I need the money, I'm working. And so I go downstairs, and Gal Friday's downstairs, thank God, because she's just the best cheerleader ever. And I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. And she's like, bitch, you got this, you can do it. She's like, you're gonna go upstage, you're gonna get on stage, and just give him face, just face. And I was like, okay. I got it. She's like, give me that face. I was like, okay, I can give him the face. And so at this point, the entire staff knows that like I can't walk. And so the rest of the wait staff is watching, the band is like watching, everyone except for the audience knows how badly I'm injured. And it's like everybody's like, let's watch this train wreck. So I hear my name called, and I decide, I'm in my gown and I glide as slow as possible and try to make it so that it's not a limp, it's a choice. It's a choice that I am not putting weight on my right leg, and I'm going super slow, and I make my way through the crowd up to the stage, and there's like a little lift up to the stage, and I'm like, I know I can't do this on my own, so I wait until someone can help me on stage, like a diva. You know, like this is like what I meant to do. I planned it this way, and then I get up to the middle of the stage, and I just stand, resting one foot like this, and I do my entire number like this. And I turn around, and I take my dress off, and I grind, and it's so slow, and you can't even tell that my leg is not being used. And if it is, it's so slow. And I do my entire number like that. I tassel twirl at the end on one leg, and I slowly glide my way off stage and back to the dressing room. And I get down there, I was like, holy fucking shit, I did it. Like, I did it, I can work. I can work with this leg. And I did my second number the exact same way. I worked the rest of the month like this until I realized that I was dumb, so dumb and young, and it took me about 2 weeks to be like, I think there might be a problem, because it just didn't get better, and it just wasn't getting better, and it wasn't getting better. So I finally took my little stripper money and went to get an x-ray. And I went to get an x-ray, and I just had to know if it was broken or not. And the x-ray technician was like, well, the good news is it's not broken, but you shattered all of the tissue in your shin so much. He's like, I don't understand actually how you're walking, or let alone dancing. So I was like, oh, I've been working this whole time. And he's like, I don't understand how this is possible. But I've learned in that moment that it's all in my face. That's the moment. So if you've ever seen me do a slow burn, it literally comes from the time that I broke my leg and I had to keep working. And I learned in that moment that, strippers can persevere through all things. And there's always a way to overcome obstacles. Thank you very much.